Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy the content, hit that subscribe button right now. Seriously, smash it. Because what I'm about to tell you today is the kind of story that Broncos Nation needs to hear before it becomes official news everywhere else. And hey, while your thumb is already up there on the screen, go ahead and drop a like too. It costs you nothing, it means everything to this channel, and it lets me know you want more of this insider training camp breakdown. Okay, let's get into it. Because Broncos Country, we have got a shakeup brewing in Dove Valley, and it is happening in broad daylight, right in front of everybody's face, and somehow it's still flying under the radar. Two positions, two storylines, two players who thought they had their roles locked down. And after week 1 of training camp, both of those roles are cracking wide open. We're talking quarterback, we're talking wide receiver. And by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly why Jarrett Stidham might be on his way out the door and why Courtland Sutton, the same Courtland Sutton who has been the most reliable target on this roster for years, is quietly being pushed toward the bench in favor of a rookie who nobody was talking about this time last year. Buckle up, because this is going to get spicy. Let's start with the quarterback room, because this is the drama nobody expected heading into camp. Remember the offseason chatter? Remember when everybody assumed Jarrett Stidham, the veteran, the steady pocket passer, the guy making $8 million, was a lock to be QB2 behind Bo Nix? Yeah, throw that assumption in the trash, because it is not looking that way anymore. Not even close. Here's what's happening. Through the first week of padded practices, the whispers out of Broncos camp have shifted. And they've shifted hard towards Sam Ehlinger, not Stidham. Ehlinger, the backup nobody was hyping up in June, is suddenly the guy every single Broncos beat reporter cannot stop talking about. And when I say cannot stop talking about, I mean it. The word being used over and over again to describe Ehlinger's camp performance is consistency. Consistency. That is the golden word in a training camp quarterback battle, because it means the coaching staff can trust what they're getting every single rep. Meanwhile, that exact same word, consistency, or rather the lack of it, is being used to describe Jarrett Stidham's camp. Reporters on the ground have documented Stidham trying to force throws downfield that just aren't there. There was one particular rep that's been making the rounds where Stidham aired one out deep on his very first read of the play, missed the connection, and then just stood there on the field with his hands on his hips, clearly frustrated with himself. Later in that same practice, he missed another target running a simple crossing route. This isn't a one-off bad day either. This is becoming a pattern. Flashes of good, sure, the arm talent is undeniable, the pop plays show up here and there, but the erratic decision-making keeps creeping back in. And in a quarterback competition, erratic is the one word you never want attached to your name. Now compare that to Ehlinger, who by nearly every account has looked like the most consistent quarterback on that practice field. And get this, that includes Bo Nix. Let that sink in for a second. The backup quarterback battling for a roster spot is reportedly out there looking more consistent in camp reps than the actual starting quarterback. That is a headline in itself. And it's not hard to see why the coaching staff might be falling in love with what Ehlinger brings to the table, because stylistically, he is basically a cheaper mirror image of Bo Nix. Both of them can extend plays with their legs. Both of them bring that mobile, off-schedule playmaking element to the offense that a traditional pocket passer like Stidham simply cannot replicate. Stidham is a classic drop-back, stand tall in the pocket, read progression kind of quarterback, and look, there's nothing wrong with that skill set on paper. But if you're Sean Payton and you're building a backup plan behind Bo Nix, wouldn't you rather have a change of pace insurance policy that plays like your starter, rather than a completely different style of quarterback who might require the entire offense to be redesigned if he's forced into action? And then there's the money. Jarrett Stidham is currently carrying an $8 million cap hit. $8 million for a backup quarterback who is currently losing a training camp competition to a guy making a fraction of that. In today's NFL, that math does not work in Stidham's favor. Teams are ruthless about the salary cap, and if Ehlinger is outplaying Stidham in camp while making significantly less money, the Broncos front office has every incentive in the world to make a change. This is shaping up to be one of the more surprising quarterback room storylines of the entire preseason, and it's happening right now in real time while most of the football world is distracted by other camps around the league. So what does this actually mean for Jarrett Stidham's future in Denver? Buckle up, because here's where it gets interesting. The dream scenario for a lot of fans would be keeping Stidham around as a third-string, practice squad insurance policy, because let's be honest, he would be one of the best emergency arms in the entire league sitting there on a scout squad. But here's the reality check. Do you really think a quarterback with Jarrett Stidham's resume and starting experience is just going to sit quietly on a practice squad? Absolutely not. The second Denver tries to slide him down to the practice squad, some other team desperate for veteran quarterback depth is going to snatch him right off waivers. It's basically a guarantee. We already saw this exact type of scramble happening around the league recently, when the Lions had Teddy Bridgewater retire and immediately turned around and signed Josh Dobbs to fill that veteran quarterback void. That tells you everything you need to know about how valuable, stable, experienced backup quarterbacks are around the NFL right now. There is always a team out there hunting for exactly what Jarrett Stidham offers, which is why the smartest move here, the move that makes the most sense for both sides, is a trade. Denver gets something back for Stidham instead of losing him for nothing on waivers, and Stidham lands somewhere that actually wants him as their guy, not their camp arm losing a competition. It is starting to feel like the writing is on the wall in Denver. Sam Ehlinger has out-consistencied him through the first week of camp, the money math favors keeping the cheaper option, and the stylistic fit with Bo Nix favors Ehlinger too. Put all three of those factors together and you have got yourself a legitimate quarterback controversy brewing behind the starter. One that could end with Jarrett Stidham wearing a different uniform before the season even kicks off. Now let's shift gears, because the quarterback situation isn't even the only bombshell coming out of Broncos camp right now. Let's talk about the wide receiver room, and specifically, let's talk about Courtland Sutton, because something is happening with him too. And it is not something Broncos fans are going to want to hear at first. But stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll understand exactly why it's actually not as doom and gloom as it sounds. Here is the situation. Courtland Sutton has been held out of multiple straight practices during training camp. Multiple, and it wasn't until the media actually started asking questions about it that the team suddenly started ramping his reps back up. Now, is that some kind of massive conspiracy? Not necessarily. But it is starting to look a whole lot like something we see constantly in other sports, especially in the NBA, where aging stars get put on what's called load management. You know the drill. Rest the veteran during the regular season grind so he's fresh and healthy when it actually matters, which is the playoffs. And when you look at everything happening around Courtland Sutton right now, that exact same load management pattern appears to be playing out here in Denver. Let's talk numbers for a second, because the numbers tell a pretty clear story. Last season, Courtland Sutton played over 1,090 snaps, which was the single highest snap total of his entire career. Compare that to 2024, where he played 977 snaps, and 2023, where he played 782 snaps. See the trend? His workload has been steadily climbing year after year, right as he's also getting older. And Courtland Sutton is not getting any younger. We are talking about a wide receiver entering his 30s, a position where the body takes an absolutely brutal pounding on every single route, every single block, every single collision over the middle of the field. Wide receivers and running backs age differently than quarterbacks or kickers, because they are absorbing contact on nearly every single snap of every single game. And Sutton himself has basically confirmed this is weighing on him. In his own words describing last season, he said, and I quote him directly here, that he got beat into the ground. That's not a media narrative. That's not speculation. That is Courtland Sutton himself telling you exactly how his body felt after carrying that career-high workload. So put yourself in the shoes of the Denver coaching staff for a second. You've got a proven, dependable veteran wide receiver who is now telling you flat out that last year's grind beat him into the ground. Meanwhile, sitting right behind him on the depth chart, you've got a rookie sensation who has, by nearly every account coming out of camp, been the single best player on the entire field this preseason, offense or defense. That rookie is Pat Bryant. And Pat Bryant is not just flashing potential, he is out there right now looking like the best player at Broncos training camp. Full stop. Not the best rookie, not the best receiver, the best player, period, on either side of the ball. Now, some fans are going to bring up the injury concerns because, yes, Pat Bryant did deal with a couple of concussions during his rookie season last year. But let's pump the brakes on the idea that this makes him some kind of injury-prone liability. Concussions happen. They happened during his rookie year, his first taste of NFL physicality, and that alone does not create a pattern or a trend. He is not injury-prone. He simply had a couple of unfortunate incidents in year one, and there is every reason to believe his snap count and target share are about to take off in a major way this season. And honestly, we've actually seen this exact blueprint before with this Broncos receiving core. Remember Troy Franklin last year? Pat Bryant started carving into Troy Franklin's snap count as the season progressed, and then once Bryant got hurt, Franklin's role bounced back up because the depth chart shifted right back to him out of necessity. That tells you the coaching staff already trusts Pat Bryant enough to hand him significant playing time the moment he's healthy and available. Now roll that forward into this season, where he is fully healthy, fully caught up on the offense, and reportedly balling out as a boundary receiver who can also slide into the slot when needed. That versatility alone makes him an incredibly valuable chess piece for this offense, and it makes him the clear frontrunner to start eating into Courtland Sutton's workload in a very real way. So here's the projection. Don't expect Courtland Sutton's snap count to collapse or anything dramatic like that. He is still going to be a hugely important piece of this offense. But look for that number to come down from over 1,000 snaps to something closer to the 800 to 900 range, with 850 feeling like a realistic middle ground. And in terms of receiving production, don't be shocked if Sutton doesn't crack 1,000 receiving yards this season. That number, the 1,000-yard milestone, is looking a lot more likely to belong to newly added superstar receiver Jalen Waddle instead. Courtland Sutton shifts from being your primary alpha target to being your incredibly reliable, battle-tested number 2 option. A role that honestly suits where he is in his career right now. Denver brought in Jalen Waddle specifically to be the new face of this receiving room, the true difference maker. Sutton settling into a slightly reduced, more protected role behind him is not some kind of insult to his career. It's just smart team building, and frankly, it's smart body management for a receiver who has already told you himself how brutal last season felt physically. And look, this doesn't diminish what Courtland Sutton has meant to this franchise one single bit. His legacy in Denver isn't tarnished because the coaching staff wants to be a little more careful with his workload heading into a season where this roster genuinely believes it can compete deep into the playoffs. If anything, this is the front office being proactive. They want Courtland Sutton fresh, healthy, and dangerous when January rolls around, not running on fumes after another career-high workload grinding through the regular season. Father Time is undefeated, as they say, and the Broncos coaching staff seems to understand that better than anyone, making the calculated decision to lean on Pat Bryant's explosive rookie emergence now so that Sutton has plenty in the tank when it matters most. So there you have it, Broncos Country. 2 massive storylines quietly developing behind the scenes at training camp that nobody outside the building has really been talking about until right now. Sam Ehlinger is out consistencying Jared Stidham in the battle for the backup quarterback job, and the smart money says this ends in a trade before the regular season even starts. Because there is no version of this where Denver just lets Stidham walk for nothing on waivers. And over at wide receiver, Pat Bryant's electric camp performance is setting up a changing of the guard, with Courtland Sutton stepping back into a slightly reduced, more sustainable role as the front office manages his snap count heading into what they hope is a deep playoff run. Both of these storylines are going to keep developing fast, and trust me, I am going to be right here tracking every single practice report, every beat reporter update, and every camp battle twist as it happens, so you do not miss a single development. This is exactly the kind of insider breakdown that separates this channel from everybody else just repeating the same generic headlines. So here is what I need from you right now. If this video gave you something to think about, if it opened your eyes to storylines you weren't hearing anywhere else, smash that like button right now, drop a comment down below telling me who you think wins the Ehlinger versus Stidham battle, and let me know if you think Pat Bryant is really about to take over for Courtland Sutton this season. And most importantly, if you are not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we are grinding our way to 1,000 subscribers together, and every single one of you watching right now can be the reason we get there. Broncos Country, I will see you in the next one. Bile high salute.